What's going on, everyone? I just wanted to make a sort of generic Scream 5 video where we have a discussion per usual down in the comments below, so make sure you join the discussion. There's a lot that I am excited for in regards to the upcoming Scream 5 film and just things that I wanted to sort of talk about in a video form, and of course hear your opinion as always. Before we jump into it, be sure to like this video. It helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, follow by the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. Stay up to date with all things Scream. Join this wonderful Scream community we have here and all of our discussions. So when it comes to the upcoming Scream 5, right off the bat, I have a lot of excitement and hope for it. I mean, I've touched on some of these points in my live streams. I go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so I'd love to see you there if you've never been to one. But one of the things that I kind of talked about was that I'm excited that and expecting this film to potentially be the best out of all the Screams. Now, in the same breath, I don't think this Scream, even if it is, will never be as great as the original, just because of what it did and what it meant and how it was, the starting point. It always is the beginning, the originator, that is always the one that is credited in a lot of ways. And so I think that this film, though, has so much potential to be the sort of number two behind the first one. It's got a lot of hype. I mean, you would assume that the story is going to be really great, given that the OG3 signed on and they all but swore off Screams. I mean, especially Courtney. She was very open and opinionated about wanting to be killed off in Scream 4 and how she was done with this and she didn't want to do it no more. Same thing with Sydney. She said she would never do another Scream without Wes. And so to see them all kind of come on board and it gives me a lot of hope for this film. Granted, the story and idea that was presented to them may have been enough to get them on board. It comes down to the execution. Again, it's my favorite word when it comes to this upcoming Scream 5 film, the execution, because that is key. If they have great execution, then, I see this film really translating. And you got great producers, great writers, great everything on board for this film. They have a vision, they have a direction, they know what they want to do, which is really good. There's not a ton of rewrites, there's not a ton of things on the fly, like some of the other Scream films of the past. Everything was black and white. Here's this, here's this, here's this. Now let's film and make this happen. They got the cast. They got a great lineup. They got what I would hope will be great actors. It just comes down to the story, sort of direction, character development. That is huge and key for me. I want to see them develop these characters because I feel after Scream 1, the character development kind of got worse as the Screams got on. It was just kind of like, oh, here are these characters. They kind of interact with each other. I want to see proper development. I felt Scream 1 was really good at having us buy in to these characters, to the Sydney, the Dewey, the Gale, the Tatum, the only one that people really seem to have bought in to in the most previous films outside of the first one is really Kirby. That's the one that everyone always talks about. You never really hear anybody talk about Mickey or Mrs. Loomis or Roman, or it's always sort of the Kirby one, and they did a good job kind of positioning her and sort of centering a lot around her. I'd like to see that more, especially with the characters that you're trying to build up going forward. This is supposed to be a trilogy moving forward, so if that's the case, you need to establish the characters. That's very important, very key for me. The other thing that I really want, and I've said this even in other videos, is that I want them to take risks. I want them to take chances. I want them to do things differently, even if I hate it. Because I would rather them, instead of making a cookie cutter, carbon copy Scream, I'd love to see some new inventive ways for kills and just, overall story and plots and direction. Because at least I can say, hey, you know what, that was different. I personally didn't like it. I personally didn't buy into it, but at least they tried. And that kind of ties into even the kills. They've talked about how if they're going off the knife, all that jazz. I want to see them sort of, be creative in these kills. The Scream television show is one that I always reference. I thought that did a great job with the kill aspects. However you felt about the TV series, the kills were great. They had some really great kills that I'd love to see sort of implemented in this film. The other sort of main thing that I'm really excited for when it comes to the Scream 5 film is just the this is the first film in a long time that I feel we have no clue what's gonna happen. You know, like when you see Scream 2, see Scream 3, you see Scream 4, you know, you have your pre notions. You know, you go in expecting certain things. This could be anything. I mean, in a good way, bad way, or somewhere in between. And it adds that layer of excitement, at least for me. Like, I love that mystery, that unknown. You know, seeing that creative aspect to them, because they have a great catalog of films. These guys, Radio Silence, are obviously great at what they do. I've enjoyed every film of theirs that I've watched, and I've watched several, and so I'm really looking forward to this, to kind of see the way that they put this together, and sort of certain things I imagine will mirror the original, but I want to see the sort of different takes. And that's really exciting for me too. Also, just Ghostface, and it's why I have an image of Ghostface up, because this is the first Scream that I can think of where it has a whole slew of people, and we have no idea who Ghostface could be. It could literally be anybody, because every film after the first one, you know, it's basically limited to like these 3 or 4 characters. You know, Scream 1, it was really just Haley, Derek, Mickey, and that was basically it. Or one of the sorority people, you know, and then you see them being killed off, and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of obvious, you know. Where, you know, Scream 3, you had more of an audience to choose from, but right off the bat, you were established. You knew, like, okay, it's not going to be the security guy. It's not going to be the Randy guy. It's not going to be. It's only like these 3 or 4 people that realistically could be. And so, same thing with 4. I think the Jill thing caught a lot of people off guard. Some people, even the Charlie thing. But even that, I mean, that wasn't believable to me. And that's something that I want to hit on as well. But it just, you knew again. You knew it only could be, you know, Judy, Charlie, the boyfriend, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Jill, and the other guy, the camera guy. I can't remember his name either. I'm sorry. But yeah, you knew it was only like 4 people that it could be, and you're like, it's probably not this person, probably not that person, so it's got to be this person. You know, I mean, Kirby, I don't think anyone really thought Kirby would have been the killer, just given the character and the development around her. But this film, I mean, you have essentially, outside of the OG3, an entire new cast. I mean, even Martha, who we are familiar with, she could be a killer, or she could die in the opening scene. Judy, she could be a killer or die in the opening scene. Like, every one of these characters could be the opening scene kill or Ghostface. And that just adds a real layer of excitement to me. Like, it adds so much to this film that really we haven't had in forever. Where it's a film going into where we have no idea what could happen, what's going to go on, and, you know, trying to piece it together, seeing all the misdirections, all the red herrings, all that stuff. I'm really excited for this film going forward in that regard. And then sort of the last thing I'll touch on, if you want another video like this, because believe me, I could talk for an hour about this stuff, so maybe I'll make this like a little series or something if you all enjoy it. So let me know down in the comments below if you want me to keep this up. I just don't want to make this like a 20-30 minute video. But the sort of last point that I wanted to touch on is believability of Ghostface. Like, obviously, Billy and Stu were very believable because they were all teenagers. You know, you had 2 guys sort of working in tandem always. They were big guys, especially Stu. I mean, he was a tall guy, you know, sort of husky. Like, you know, they were believable. Scream 2 had arguably the most believable Ghostface in Mickey. I mean, just his stature, everything just kind of fit the mold of a killer. Mrs. Loomis, although she only killed Randy, really, she's the only one that that kind of, I guess, makes sense. So you had Mickey, and then Mrs. Loomis, she only took out Randy. But even that, you know, like the way she was able to manhandle him just didn't make sense to me, because she's just this frail, you know, 5'5", maybe, if that, 115, 20-pound woman throwing around, not that Randy was, the, Hulk Hogan or something, but, or John Cena, but he's still a good sized guy that was just getting thrown across this whole van like he was just a rag doll. And then Scream 3, Roman, I've always been on the fence with that. It was most of the film was shot as if it was a two killers. I mean, even continuity wise, like if you watch that film, there are scenes that happen essentially at the same time, and Ghostface is at like both places. So they clearly filmed it as if two people. Obviously, Angelina was supposed to be the other killer, but even then, like Roman kind of didn't make it believable. But he was more believable than a Mrs. Loomis, and especially Scream 4. Scream 4, as much as no one really saw Jill or Charlie coming, I didn't buy them as ghost faces, me personally. I'm not saying the film as a whole was good or bad. I'm just saying them as ghost faces. I mean, you had Jill, who again didn't do most of the killing. I mean, she did do some, but nothing major. She's 5'3", 5'4", again 100 pounds soaking wet. And then you had Charlie, who's like 5'4", 5'5", 125 pounds soaking wet. And he's just throwing these people around like they're rag dolls. There's even a funny scene. Like, go back and watch Scream 4, or you can find it on the internet, where, Sydney and her aunt are pushing on the door, and Ghostface is trying to get in, and Ghostface looks like he's 6'3". Like, he looks like he's almost as tall as the door. And you're telling me those two women don't have the strength to push Charlie or Jill, back outside? Like, you're telling me that none of these other people, like none of the cops or anything, were able to manhandle this 125-pound kid? Like, I want more believability when it comes to the killer itself. But I'll kind of leave it there. Again, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Make sure to join the discussion. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. Just kind of me riffing on things that I want to see, things that I'm looking forward to. I can make it maybe a series, like once a week or every couple days. I'll kind of add to this video leading up to Scream 5, and then, we can kind of talk about that as it comes out. So let me know if you like this more personal style video. But yeah, if you have not liked this video, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.